Hello and welcome to the Possibility Partners Show. I'm your host, Ande Lyons, your Chief Possibility Officer, and I love sharing Andelicious advice with entrepreneurial adventurers. And these are conversations with seasoned entrepreneurs, all sharing their best tips, tools, and advice to help us all keep our businesses humming and growing along. And I'm so thrilled that you joined the show and that you're watching and tuning in for what I'm calling a series that's a conversation at the corner of Main Street, an inspirational way. Because I believe that as important as tactics and systems are for our businesses, so are our state of minds. And we love to bring wonderful words and feelings and visions and inspiration to entrepreneurs around the world to help them stay tuned into their journey and into their mindset, because it's proven that how you think and feel your way through the day is what is going to bring your business the most success. So a big yoo-hoo! Hello, my live viewers right here in the comment stream. I'm so grateful that you are here joining us live with your delicious energy. And my replay viewers, mwah, 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 to you for tuning in. I'm so grateful for your delicious energy too. And let's stay connected. You know, I'm always playing at my favorite social media bar, at Twitter, and I'm at Ande Lyons. So I'd love to connect with you there if I'm not already doing so. And of course, you can get more tips, tools, and resources at my website, andelyons.com. And you can stay on top of all the Possibility Partners TV show and other wonderful video advice by subscribing to my YouTube channel, Andelicious Advice. So now that the housekeeping is out of the way, I am so excited. You see this guy right over here, right? Da-da-da-da, right beside me, this glowing presence ready to get going with us today. And he is a dream interpreter, a psychic medium, an animal communicator, and an intuitive soul coach. Yes, he is the oh so delicious Intuitive Mitchell. Please join me in welcoming this delicious man. Hello, Intuitive Mitchell. How are you tonight?
Oh my goodness. Hello and thank you. I had to keep my mouth shut that entire time. You are amazing. This is just a gush fest right now. So I am fabulous. I feel honored, privileged to be here with you, to be here with all these people chiming in, and I've been looking forward to this for what, a month?
Yes, exactly.
So I'm so pleased to be here. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. And we have a wonderful, as you know, from the comment stream here in Blab, we can see all these wonderful folks who are here live. The amazing goddesses, the owners of thewellnessuniverse.com, the founders, Sherry Elise and Anna Pereira, some favorites of ours, are here, along with Maria Flynn and Deborah Oakland and Alice Badler and Susie Cheel and Shelley Lundquist and Tim McVeigh, all the way from Australia. So we have people from around the world joining us tonight to learn more about how we can grow a heart-centered business. But before we go down that road and pull on that thread, share a little bit about your background, because you've been creating wellness in folks' lives for, what, over 28 years, Mitchell?
Yes, actually I have. So, oh my goodness. When I was 15 years old, when I was a little boy, when I was 15 years old, I weighed 240 pounds. So I was a very fat kid. And I tried every diet, everything. And finally, probably around 21 years old, I really got smart about it and got into teaching group exercise classes. Back in the day, it was called aerobics. Thank you, Jane Fonda. And then it became group exercise, and now it's called group fitness. And I'm sure it'll be changed to another name, so we can keep up with the trends. But I've been teaching group exercise classes since 1987 or 88, and also personal training. And then about 12 years ago, I stepped into management. not training as much anymore, personal training, but still teaching the group exercise classes. And I have just, I love it. I enjoy my job. I enjoy this career. I call it my corporate gig. Because as a manager, I manage about 50 instructors and about 120 classes per week, a couple corporate contracts with some big companies here in the Central Florida area. And I'm still there. I'm still there. And I know we're going to talk about marrying, different aspects together. And so that's kind of my short and sweet version of the journey of what brought me to where I am now.
That's amazing. And do you have a daily practice that you like to do that keeps you able to stay consistent and move your full-time job forward and stay tuned into that while helping those of us who are purchasing and engaging with you with your intuitive Mitchell business?
So yes, and I tell you, this last August 2015, I crossed the 3-year mark of every day except a few vacations, and I finally gave myself permission after 15 months. I gave myself permission when I go on vacation not to do my daily video. And that was hard to do. It was hard to do because I am a very structured person. But every morning I wake, well, let me rephrase that. Every morning my dogs wake me up, especially the dachshund, about 5:30, 5:45. We would appreciate it if he waited till 6. But, what is it about the cobbler's kids have no shoes? The animal communicator can't communicate to his own animal. And my partner reminds me of that all the time. Can't you do something about this? So I do wake up. I have my morning coffee, my ritual, and then I come into this office that you see behind me, and I spend 17 minutes in meditation. And the reason it's 17, about a year and a half ago, I said I need to have a more definite plan. And for me to sit still, as you can see, I'm kind of a hyperactive person. Spirit, and when I say spirit, that's the channeled voice that I call God, Goddess Source, said, just start with 6 minutes. It's June. It's the 6th month. Start with 6 minutes. So I did 6 minutes for the month of June last year, and then every month I added a minute till I got to 15 minutes. And I said, can we stop at 15 minutes? So I stayed at 15 minutes for a while, and then I just started adding another minute. So November, I will go to 18 minutes. So my 18-minute meditation happens every morning, and I open up to this laptop in front of me, and I ask for a message. I pull cards from Lenormand, which is a French traditional deck of fortune-telling cards, tarot cards, and I give some messages with using the numerology of the day and tarot and just some spirit guidance. So that's my morning practice. And then physical, I teach a program called Body Step, which is a high-intense class. And I will tell you, I'm 49 years old. So for a 49-year-old to still be teaching Body Step, it's pretty good. It's longevity here.
How are your knees?
They're good. They're good. I don't overdo it like I used to. I teach that class twice a week. I teach body flow, which is yoga, Pilates, and Tai Chi twice a week. Or I take it twice a week. And then I walk 2 other times a week. So 6 days a week, I am active. And it's very mind-body centered as well as cardio-centered. So I've married the 5 dimensions of wellness very well here. Well, I think I have.
I have to know how you calm down at the end of the day with all you have going on. I mean, is there a daily ritual for that?
No, I don't. And I think I know where you're going. But it's funny because I was a very hyperactive child. I know. It's hard to believe. But at about 7 or 8 years old, I started drinking coffee. Because back in the mid-'70s, they didn't pass out Ritalin to kids, which is speed, basically, and it counteracts the hyperactivity. But the doctor said to my mother, just give him coffee, that'll calm him down. So that's where I started my love of coffee. Sherry, I know you're out there listening to this. So coffee actually is very much a calming thing for me. I could have a cup of coffee and go right to bed. But I always liken myself to a ferret, where they're either 90 miles an hour or they're dead asleep. So I pretty much can just turn it off and go to sleep. So I know I think that's a gift. It's got to be a gift. It's got to be something like that. So, but yeah.
It is a gift for some of us, because if I get that kind of stimulated, I'm like 2 a.m. and I'm going, okay, now what? Now what are we doing? I love that. I love your whole day. And everyone watching, isn't Intuitive Mitchell amazing? Please hop onto his website, intuitivemitchell.com. Very easy. You can find all sorts of goodies there, and you must subscribe to his YouTube channel, because as he said, for 3 years in a row now, he's been providing daily inspiration, a beautiful, usually about 5-minute video, right, Mitchell, every morning? And phenomenal information for all of us. We can use that. So I love going there. But now let's talk about heart-centered business. Let's talk about how you came called to go beyond just the physical wellness, working with people in a traditional fitness environment. What happened? What was the catalyst that had you going to something more spiritual, more intuitive, more psychic in the nature of your work?
Well, and I'll do the bullet points because I believe that's how more people are learning and growing these days. They don't need long dissertations. But when I started personal training, I was fortunate enough to go through a certification, the AFA, which is American Fitness and Aerobic Association. And they actually trained us as counselors. They used the word personal training / counselor. And we used the 5 dimensions of wellness. Well, spiritual was the umbrella that was over physical, intellectual, emotional, and social. So I've always had in the background. I was fortunate enough to work in the beginning with some leaders at a non-denominational company. It didn't have any denomination with it, but we were allowed to pass out scripture. We were allowed to talk about spiritual things. And then my current facility is actually part of a very, Christian-based organization. It's a large hospital system. So even there, I'm allowed to speak of, spiritual things. Now, about 7 years ago, the spiritual component of it really shifted a little bit outside of the conservative, shall we say, Christian world into a little bit more liberal, spiritual, metaphysical. And it was just very natural for me. And I tell a lot of people, because I get a lot of people who come to me with very conservative backgrounds, or they're starting to, quote, wake up. And I say, I get it. I understand it. I said, I remember, training with my psychic and medium and teachers and, and divination, gurus around Orlando, Florida. And I remember thinking I was expecting the voice that I had cultivated as a Nazarene. I expected that Holy Spirit voice that I cultivated and heard very clearly as a very Nazarene going good boy for, 10 years. I expected the voice to change. And one day I said, why didn't it change? And I remember the voice saying, because you're the one that changed, not me. It's the same voice wherever you go. And so it was a big awakening for me, realizing that spiritual kind of life is very broad and very wide. So it was a big awakening for me.
But, it takes training, don't you think, too? And did you get training in being psychic and an animal communicator and a dream interpreter?
I believe, and most people do that do this work, that everybody is psychic. We all have the gut, the intuition, the feeling. So I do believe everybody has that. And I believe you can develop the mediumistic abilities, which is connecting to source, channeling, or reaching to the loved ones on the other side, or angels, and hearing their voice and feeling them. I studied my butt off. I mean, I was obsessed. I mean, right in front of me, I have like 100 books that I've read, but most of my teachers came from Casadega, which is kind of a winter home for a lot of the Lilydale psychic and mediums. They would winter down here in Florida. Lilydale is up in New York, and it's a big community of psychic and mediums from the spiritualist church movement. Mm-hmm. So Casadega is near me, about 30 miles out, 30 minutes away. But every Tuesday night for probably 4 years, I was with my teachers. And then I would go to another class on another night. So I've trained hard. I would train with James N. Prague up in Omega Institute. And it's just been a wild journey. But, dedicated training, getting to this point, and then just, working with the clients and seeing the results. Because it's still very much, I think, an art form. So it's tough sometimes to go, that's right. You've got it. You have to trust and believe, and there's a whole faith aspect as well.
Oh my gosh. And for those of you who are watching live right now on Blab, when I hit end recording, pause recording here on Blab, we will have the afterglow chat, okay? So we will then open up to those folks who want to get a reading from Mitchell tonight. So I just wanted to put that out to you so that you stick with us until the end and hopefully get some needs met. That would be so fun. And of course, those of you watching replay, you just have to hop on to intuitivemitchell.com and book a session because he's great, or be sure to subscribe to his YouTube channel. Now, as far as your practice goes and increasing your awareness, how did you get started in actually charging money for what you do and setting up a website. And how did that work? And we, talking about marrying both your wonderful, happily engaged full-time job and this wonderful gift that you have.
Well, and I know it's part of my makeup, because like years ago, my degree's in theater, believe it or not. I was an actor for 21 years, and I know, and I owned an improv theater, so we did improv. And I remember, when I started learning that, it's part of my makeup that once I start learning something, I become obsessed with it. I immediately start thinking, how do I turn this into my life and my work and my business? And when it came to this, there was probably about a 2 to 3 year period where I thought, this is going to become my livelihood. And I pushed and I set up the website. I asked Spirit to show me my boot camp, my psychic boot camp. And lo and behold, I was led to Universal Studios, Orlando, Florida, where they have psychics that work in little tents. And I remember being in this tiny little shop, and on the other side of this wall was the Blues Brothers playing so loud I could barely hear myself. And there often was a butt of a client buying product at a little stand next to me here. So I'm squeezed in between people, focusing and learning how to tap in and read. And I'll never forget one client. The dad was there, and there's like a 10, 12-year-old son, and we were doing the reading, and the father goes, "Oh, you're for real," because he's at a theme park, so we're thinking it's just going to be fun. When I started telling him what's going on and referring to the father and how there's this relationship, the father was like, "Oh, this is real." So I went through boot camp. I went through this training, and it helped develop it. But setting up my website, starting to charge, and anybody who's ever been at that place, you come to that moment where you go, okay, I have to charge money for what I've been doing for free or practicing. And it's a step of faith and belief. And then you look at how much you're charging, and you have to go, because I did this with personal training. I remember I didn't think I was worth $50 for an hour, back in 1995. And so there's this belief process that you kind of go through and kind of go, I am worth this. I am offering something that is of value to the people in front of me. And that's when it really became abundant. And I tell you, I know, Andy, you'll love this story. I'm a businessman, and I know you know that.
You are.
And I don't come off that because it's my moon side, my Capricorn moon. But I remember treating this like a business, and I had, here's how many clients I'm going to have per month. Here's what revenue I want to bring in. And it worked well, but it wasn't what I thought. And one day Spirit said, it's not about the money. It's going to come. And they said, flip it over. How many people are you going to touch this month? How many people are you going to minister to, service, reach, connect with? And literally, like the night I went to bed thinking that, I woke up the next morning and my phone, beep, 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 PayPal, PayPal, PayPal. I mean, it was bizarre how literally overnight I had like 3 or 4 that just popped up overnight. And whenever I see the bank account or my schedule drop a little bit, I check myself and see where my focus is. And
wow.
It shifts.
Okay, everybody, are we all raising our hands here? Now, you can be a numbers-driven person, but as Intuitive Mitchell just said, it really is, the numbers are about who are you going to serve with your gifts in the world today. And my post today on Facebook was, what good can I do today? It's the same thing. And we had on the Wellness Universe, we had that wonderful post about kindness and how that gentleman's life was saved from kindness. That is a beautiful place and space to come from with your business. And I love that you were affirmed right away about that. And yet you stay full time in your fitness manager job. Do you get folks ever saying, how come you just don't stop doing that? And why wouldn't you stop doing that?
I do. And they're the well-meaning people that you should be doing this full time. And there was a point where I wanted to, but again, Spirit said, every day you walk through the offices and the people you see at your fitness center, at your large organization, every day you walk past them, you can do this work. And you're being paid a nice salary there, and you're being paid benefits and retirement and all this stuff there. And it's, in other words, they're just not lined up as a client on my schedule. It's a random thing. Nice. And I tell you, when that button flipped, I was like, I get it. And I realize I'm building this platform, and I'm doing it. And no offense to anybody who does this, but I'm doing it without paying any money on Twitter, any money on Facebook. I don't I don't pay out for advertising or anything as of yet. One day I know I will, but right now it's all the word of mouth, the business line, the return customers and clients, the daily YouTube videos, because that is the way people get to see who I am. They feel more comfortable, because I wouldn't just go connect with a psychic that I saw on a little thing on the side. But once I get to know someone and I understand them and I see how they work, that's where the connection happens a little bit more. So that's why I love video. So I know I've been given a gift of this job that I'm in right now. And who knows, in 1 to 5 years, I might shift it to a little more part-time. And then 5 to 10 years, it might be history and I'll move into this full-time. But I know I have to, and I do trust the nudge from spirit, the guidance, the flow, because it's not let me down yet.
Well, I think a lot of holistic practitioners run into the whole reciprocity. Money is energy, but as you said, it was hard for you to charge that much as a fitness trainer. And then you get into, well, what do I charge as a psychic medium? It's not like it's a job posting on Craigslist that you can use as an example, or Ladder or someplace. Gee, I wonder what they're charging for that nowadays. You have to come up, you have to tune in and decide what it is you're going to charge. And I'd love to hear your advice for other holistic entrepreneurs who are, the Reiki healers, tarot readers, however they're serving the world. There's no, quote, bad business, folks. We're all here to engage in a way that has the whole receiving and giving energy flow. What advice do you have to help them charge and help them see their business, their gift as a business, and how they work in the world as a business?
The first thing I would say is look in your area. Look who is around your area. And a lot of times that doesn't work, because you may be in the middle of, lovely middle America, where there aren't a lot, psychic mediums, Reiki masters, massage therapists. I remember massage therapy was a luxury. Now it's, the everyday thing, just like personal training. But then also look to people who you respect, you admire, you look up to, and see what they charge. It's always nice for me to go look at what James Van Praagh, Lisa Williams, Laura Alden Cam, Mona Lisa Schultz charges. And I go, oh my gosh, because they're literally $300 for 30 minutes. And maybe I'll be that one day. I don't know. But I also know, and I learned this from Bob Olson, who has the Best Psychic Directory site. He said, the moment you become more professional and you have overhead and you have people you have to pay, your prices are going to go up, because there are things that you need to do. Mine is a home-based business. And for me, right now, I'm $50 for a 30-minute on FaceTime and Skype. I was at 65, and I did a special for 45, and Spirit said, we're just going to take it back up to 50, and you're going to leave it there for a little while. So that is another big lesson for me, trusting that Spirit has something, in mind for me. But I also look at, what the average rate is, and for someone who does what I do. I try not to be too low, but I try not to be too high, and what feels comfortable for me.
Right. And I just want to encourage all the holistic practitioners out there, entrepreneurs out there with your business, whatever stage you're at, you are worth it, and you deserve to receive for what you're doing for and bringing to the world. I know it can sometimes be a little harder, and I don't think that's something that's just for holistic entrepreneurs. I think it's for all of us. I think anybody who has a coaching practice or a consulting practice, even, it's so much easier when you have a product, because you know what the product costs, you know what the margins are you have to give to distributors and to be on the shelf. And then, you need a good 25 to 45% margin for your own self. So, it just makes it very easy to come up with the price. But when you have a practice or a service that you're offering, and it's different. And I love too the intuitive Mitchell, how you tune in. Intuitive Mitchell uses words, spirit, that's how he connects to divine source. You too can sit down every day for a quiet meditation. You can grab my early morning meditation for entrepreneurial adventurers. It's 10 minutes long. It helps you tune in to your day, your outcome, your purpose, your ideal clients, and how you're going to share your deliciousness with the world that day, that week, that month, that year. And it's just important to take that time and listen, because we get barraged with so much. Here's what you should do on social media. And we want to be on social media. We want to be sharing and connecting and engaging. Yes, Mitchell.
Theodore Roosevelt, comparison is the thief of joy. Someone
My
said that over the
favorite.
weekend, and I lost my mind because I'm like, that is so true. It is so true sometimes, especially in this line of work. And a lot of people, and not a lot of people have said this to me, but I've seen it on Facebook. They believe, what I do or the gift or the ability is of God, and we shouldn't charge any money for it. And I mean, even, you know, my minister was making a really good salary, with a 1,000-person church. So I grew up in a place where, you did the work of the Lord and you were paid for it. And so I grew up in a place where, spirituality was part of the business. And some people do disagree with that. And I would caution, make sure there is that exchange of energy, or you're going to burn yourself out if you're just giving.
Okay, so I'm curious. We all understand psychic mediums and dream interpreters and intuitive soul coaches, but how did you become an animal communicator? How did that happen? That's so powerful.
Oh, I knew you were going there. And about 5 or 6 years ago, I was taking or teaching. I can't remember if I was taking or teaching a workshop. I think I was at a workshop and talking to a lady, and she started talking about animals. And I said, "Oh no." I go, "Oh Lord, one day I know my business card is going to say pet psychic." And I wasn't really working with animals at the time. So be careful what you say. But I did not have animals when I lived alone. And I met my partner almost 9 years ago. We moved in together a year and a half after dating. And he had a dachshund named Sheldon, a cat named Toby, and a Pomeranian named Lolita. And I didn't think I was a dog person until I met small dogs, because I always had large dogs as guard dogs and stuff. I always thought I was a cat person. But being around these animals and stepping into their life, them into my life, as I'm really starting to develop, it was just natural. And I mean, there were times when I would just be like, "Well, don't you know what he needs? I know what he needs. Why aren't you doing it?" And he'd be like, "What are you talking about?" I said, "Well, he needs to go outside." He goes, "How do you know he's just sitting there?" I said, "I don't know. I just know he needs to go outside and go to the bathroom." So it just developed very naturally because I wanted to work with humans. But now I adore animals. And, I'll say this to everybody listening, watching. The animals know how to do it. It's our energy that usually messes them up. So anytime somebody comes to me and they say, "My cat's pissing all over the house," I'll say, stop right there. It's the animals usually know how to live. It's usually our energy that is messing them up, or they're trying to tell us something. They're mirroring back to us. They're trying to teach us something. They know how to live in the present moment. They got it down. We're the ones that are, on the growth pattern here. So most of the time, it's about the humans in the household and not the animals. Usually at the end of the conversations with an animal communication session, I will say, "Now, do you see how your dog, has brought this entire session back around to you, to your life, and to how you're lonely, and to how you are looking for love? That's why you're loving this animal so much, because you want someone to do that for you." It becomes this thing right back to the person. And almost 90% of the time, we're right back to the human, and it's about them.
Wow, that is really powerful.
Yeah.
Wow. And was one person in there just had a big wow in the room there, and I'm with you too. If any of you have a question who are here live and you have a question for Intuitive Mitchell, just do a \Q and type in your question, okay, so we can see it. Intuitive Mitchell, what do you love most and best about the work you're doing?
I thought you were going to say what I love most and best. Coffee. What I love most about it, I love when I'm sitting in front of a client or in front of the camera and I'm in the flow of it. I'm not, and this is going to be kind of gross and real base, but I'm not thinking about food. I'm not thinking about going to the bathroom. I'm not thinking about my business or my bank account. I am in this beautiful moment, which I can liken to any time you're sitting over coffee with someone or you haven't seen them in years, and you're so ingrained in the conversation and the reminiscing that the world could collapse around you, but you don't even know it. And it's those moments, because I literally get up from sessions a lot of times and I'm almost dizzy because I was so focused with them. And it's a high. It's very much a beautiful high. And that's what I love most about the business. And I'm one of those that I do love to hear feedback, because I take it and especially when it's positive and good, and I get, quote, a hit, but I don't rely on that, because I learned a long time ago as an actor, if you get 10 people saying they loved you, there's probably going to be 10 people that didn't enjoy your performance. And the biggest lesson I learned in acting was when you come off stage, you just thank people for coming. If they like the performance, they're going to tell you. I always would say, thank you so much for coming out tonight. Thank you for coming. I would see younger people go, how did you like the show? And I always say, they're going to tell you one of two things, and you're not going to be able to tell the difference. Either it's going to be the truth or a lie, and you're not going to know the difference. So just don't ask.
Wow.
So I, as an actor, I would go up and I would find that person who mesmerized me, and I'd say, I need to tell you, you were amazing tonight. That you were on. They go, but I just had 5 lines. I said, but I couldn't take my eyes off of you. You were so ingrained in that character. So I learned a long time ago, you don't take the good, you don't take the bad. You let it, mold you and guide you down the path.
Boy, that could really help for folks who hate to hear the word no or any kind of rejection, right?
Yeah.
And now with what we do, it's just say thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. Thank you for, and I am grateful. Wow.
When I walk into the place I get my hair cut, it's like a hair cuttery. They always go, hey, thank you for offering, but not today. That's what they call me. Because, most places like that, they make their money off of selling the products, not so much the haircut, especially for a man. But they offer me, and I say, oh, thank you so much for the offer, but not today. So that's what they call me now. Kind of sad, but still funny.
Oh, my gosh. What possibilities are you seeing on the horizon for your work?
Well, I tell you. First of all, most of you can understand and commiserate with me. A week from today, we sell our house and buy another house and we move. And the reason I'm saying that is because it's the first time I feel like I'm going to open up my door and have a home office. So that's one thing where I'll invite people in for, one-on-one sessions where I only did it if I knew people. But more importantly, I am going through hypnosis certification at the end of October. So the 26th to the 31st, I'm going to be trained as a hypnotist. So I'll be able to do chakra alignment, soul retrieval. But the thing I'm most excited about is past life regression, in between life, and connecting that way, because it's something I've been very fascinated with. So I see that as expanding and becoming a bigger part of my business.
Wow. So right now you don't see past lives, or you're not working in that?
As a psychic and a medium, I often do. It's one of those things where the person is not bringing it out, which is what happens usually in a regression. You are talking it out, you're bringing it out. But I'll look at you, and here's when I look at you, and this is funny. I'm going to read Andy. Are you okay?
Read on.
It's funny because when I look at you, I immediately see royalty. I immediately am drawn into the Egyptian world, that feel very, I don't know if you're drawn to Egyptian items and artists, but I feel a big draw to that part of the world for you. And I see you as being someone who fought for the underdog, fought for the poverty-stricken type people. I see all this energy that probably bleeds over into this lifetime as well. So that's wonderful that I can see that, say that, and feel that. Can we ever prove that? Not really. But when you go into a past life regression, it's a little easier for the client to, I'll use the word, I'm a very logical person, so I'm very logical. So it's easier for the client to buy into and understand it when the words are coming out of their mouth, where the visions came from their past life regression, rather than me just saying, here's what I feel and I see. Because it is nice and it feels good. But I love evidence. I'm very much kind of an evidential person. So I want people to be able to take that away, because my logic brain is always still working with me, and it keeps me humble. It keeps me humble and honest, and I love it.
I love it. And thank you so much for that reading. And for folks who know me so well, Alice, Deborah, Sherry in the comment trail, they all know I use the word goddess all the time. So Egyptian royalty, yeah, that works.
Yeah, very much so.
Great. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
How can folks best connect with you? Because I know you are using social media in such a wonderful and profound way for your work.
So the best way, probably Facebook. So Intuitive Mitchell is probably where I'm the most active. I do post, a daily flyer, a meme on Pinterest, on Instagram, on Vine, on Tsu, on Twitter. My YouTube goes out every day, and it's YouTube Intuitive Mitchell, Facebook Intuitive Mitchell, and intuitivemitchell.com is my website. So that's, I don't do blogs. I'm not a writer. I tried it. It was very laborious for me, but you know what? Every day I spend an hour doing a video. So I'm okay with that.
I have to tell you, I'm the same way. People are always saying, Andy, about your blogs. I'm like, wait. And it's not that I have plenty of blogs that I wrote for my prior business, but for Possibility Partners, it is the communicating on video. I'm right there with you with that. And everyone who showed up live today, oh my gosh, I'm just going to read a string of names right here, okay? Because we are so grateful. And so we have, there's Callie, there's Alice Badler, my queen, and Deborah, Living in Courage platform. And we have Maria Flynn, great energy flow. Sharing with Sherry, we love you. Shelley Lundquist, and Susie Cheel, and Tim McVeigh, and Diana. I'm not Sayako. Sorry, Diane, I'm going to just be horrible with that name. And Wendy, and many more folks who have shared in their comments today and who have viewed. Thank you, thank you. And you know how much I love you, replay viewers. Oh my gosh, so grateful you took the time to play this video and learn more about how to grow a heart-centered business. And yes, share, Mitchell.
I see a question. So it looks like, is it Nancela? You said you just broke up with someone. Now you like someone else. Will it develop? My gut is telling me that there's still unfinished business with the person you broke up with. And that either means you need to take care of it, like verbally or, some way, or that whoever you broke up with, they're still holding some space in your life. And I'm going to be honest with you. I still like the person you broke up with for you better. I don't know why. I'm not saying that the current one is not going to work out, but there's something about, you say he's a jerk. There's something there. There's something there. So
that's great.
Let's at least do this. Just ask yourself in a quiet moment when you have private time, just say, what is there still unfinished? How can I release what's going on? And it may be, and I love that you said he's a jerk. I appreciate your honesty. So there still could be some of that, either resentment, bitterness, anger that needs to be released because it feels like it's still holding space in your life. But yeah, so cool. All right, wonderful.
Oh my gosh. So replay viewers, you got to see how intuitive Mitchell does that. Isn't that wonderful? Oh my gosh. Everyone, I will let you know, the next time I have a show, just follow me here on Blab, subscribe. You can find my newsletter, which also I'm really not that great at sending that out either. Oh my gosh, I have to get better at so many things. But I'm so thrilled you tuned in to the show. I'm going to hit pause record now. For those of you who are here live, please click on the open seat chair thingamajiggy here on Blab, okay? And we'll bring you into the room, okay? And Alice, go ahead and do it again, darling, because I know you tried earlier. In the meantime, for everyone out there pursuing their dreams through their entrepreneurial adventures, I am so in awe and wonder of your courage, your tenacity, your persistence, and I am cheering you on from here. Thank you so much, and I'm wishing you an Andelicious day. Mwah, mwah, mwah. And thank you, Mitchell, for